Hi, Jeff here from High Fashion Sewing Machines, and today we're going to be doing the July segment of our IQ Designer Club, and we're going to be teaching you the stamp tool, and we're making a little rug mug mat sort of thing, and go through the processes and the steps to make this. We're going to actually make the embroidery design, we're going to stamp around it, we're going to bring it into IQ Designer, and then we're going to make a series of outlines around it so we can put a backing on it and turn it. So this way you're going to have a very useful mug. We even have a overachiever version. The instructions on the last page show you how to add a border at the top and bottom. But we're going to just show you how to make the rounded corner one today. And if you want to make one and then do the overachiever version later, it's there for you. And we have the instructions that will be posted on our website. Is that correct? Yes. We're going to have our instructions on the website. Trista has been very thorough, and hopefully we haven't missed any steps. And if we missed a step, that's just to show how much you know about it, and you can fix it yourself. So here we go. So first we are going to go and we're going to select an embroidery design. So we're going to go into our embroidery function, and we selected a design from the exclusives menu, and we're going to scroll across here, and we went to home accents, and we just picked this cute little coffee cup. Very simple little swirl of steam. We're not changing the size. We're going to leave it right where it's at, and we're going to just go ahead and set that. Now we're going to add some wording. We're going to add "See the Good." You could put anything in, "Cup of Joe," whatever you want to put in there. So we are going to add, and we're going to go to our lettering, and I'm going to use this 07 font, and I'm going to keep it all in capitals. So I'm going to type in C. Oh, that's way too big. With the baby locks, you select the first letter. I'm going to delete to the first letter, and I'm going to select medium size. You got LMS here. So I'm going to select medium, and then I'm going to enlarge it just a little bit from there. You could always have done it by making the large smaller, but I'm going to put in C, and the spaces over here, THE space good. And that's good for me. I'm going to shrink it a little bit in width here in a moment. So I'm going to hit set, and there's little baby red boxes around there, so that means that's all selected. So I'm just taking my finger on one of the red boxes, and you can position just by rolling and rocking your finger. See, I'm not even lifting my finger, but you can rock and roll this thing right where you want it. So that's a nice little tip. Now, I'm going to edit that because I want that "See the Good" a little bit narrower. So I'm going to go to size, scrunch it in. Oh, that's perfect. So that is my embroidery part of this design. And we are going to group it together so we can stamp it. So our grouping tool is down here. So we're going to hit our grouping tool, and we're going to catch that. See how it turned all of them pink? That's what I want. Now if I wanted to move it up or down, it'll move them all just the way you want it. And I'm going to hit OK. So they're all still grouped in a red square. And I want to touch my stamp tool. And my stamp tool is this flower with no petals or center to it. It's going to measure the outside of that design and tell the machine that that's where you want your outside edge. So I'm going to hit my stamp tool. And the distance is really tight in here. So I want my distance a little bit wider. You can just play around with this. So I'm going to make it 0.32 for just the sake of this. And now I'm going to hit memory. That's the only option we have on this page, or cancel. And this puts it into a memory that we can use when we go into IQ Designer. because the idea on IQ Designer is we're going to put stippling or designs right around the outside edge of this. So I'm going to hit memory, and it says right here, recall from IQ Designer from the list. Yes, that's the only option. All right, so now we are going to go ahead and embroider this. And with the magic of video, boom, it's recorded. All right, so this is a little different one. We'll use the one that we stitched out, but I wanted to show you the process of stamping and putting it in memory. So we're gonna go to home.
Get this right.
And it's okay to cancel because we already stitched it out. We're gonna go to IQ Designer. And we are going to go to a image, let's get this right, image scan. So it's this little flower, looks like a fern leaf, and we're gonna go to image scan. So this is gonna scan what's in our hoop right there that we just stitched out. And the frame will move, it turns the light on, doesn't take much time at all, it only takes 2 passes. And the background of this will be now in our IQ Designer, so we can add and play around with our stippling and know exactly where it's going to be placed. So again, remember, this is going to be stitched in one layer, then we're going to put a backing layer next to it and then turn it right side out so we can have a mug rack.
I'm going to move over here to get out of the glare.
All right.
Way better.
So if you look on the screen, it's kind of a ghost sort of figure. And our first step is we're going to go to our little shapes tool. It's circle and square. And then we're going to find our stamp. So here's our little circle and square. You would have never known to go here to find your stamp. But here's our stamp tool. And this is the one we just did. See the good. And we're going to go OK. So now, oops, back it up. I'm going to cancel that because I did the wrong one. I'm going to go to IQ Designer. Sorry about this, but we're all going to make button mistakes, so you just kind of have to know how to back up too. I'm going to go to my circle and square, go to my stamp tool, and I'm going to go to the see the good I did previously.
Scan image.
And I'm going to scan image and see if it lines up. So scan image, image scan. If it doesn't line up, we'll figure it out. No big deal. Remember, this shouldn't be a pressure thing. Don't wait till the 11th hour to do something in embroidery. It's never any fun. So it's almost done scanning. Hopefully it fits on our image.
It saves it wherever you push the button.
Now, if you look real close, it's exactly right on. So that's the one we wanted, and now we can work with that. So what we want to do first is, if you want it to stitch out around, you can leave it that way, but we don't want it to stitch out. So we're going to show you how to turn the stitching off on that little black line. So we're going to go up to our line tool here, and we're going to tell it to not to stitch. And we're going to click OK. But now we have to tell what not to stitch. So we have to touch the beaker and touch that black line.
I think it's on.
And how do we know if it's on? We can go to next. No, not yet.
Because there's nothing there. It came in as
it can't go to next because there's no stitch line.
Good.
So we're hearing the little
knock knock.
Knock knock. So we've touched the line correctly.
Good.
All right. So the whole idea of that is so it doesn't stitch around, and then the stippling or whatever we put around it is just raw edge at that point. All right. So now we need to make the little square or rectangle for our mug rug, and we are going to touch our button up here. This is our line tool again, but we should do that after we select our little shape around there. So we're going to select shape, we select the rounded square, And now we're going to size it. You can barely see it, so I'm going to hit size. And I'm going to make my size large enough to where it stays in the fabric. And maybe a little taller. And now I can take my finger and center that. Because of stippling, I want this a little bigger. And again, I'm moving this around. I'm rocking my finger to get it exactly where I want. All right, a little higher. I like it. Okay. So now that we've got our square around there, we are going to start making stitches. So the first one we're going to make is we're going to make a stitch out there and then going to erase part of it so we can turn it. So we're going to go to Align Properties, and we are going to go to a triple stitch, so it's really strong. And we're going to make this a purple so we know what we're doing. Hit OK. So we want to hit beaker. And I heard the beep right, so that's our new stitch. At this point, we want to erase a little opening at the top or bottom. So I've got an eraser selected. And I erased a little opening at the very top. I'm going to click OK after that erasing. So that has erased a little area. And I want to go to memory at this point.
Next, and then memory.
Next. And memory, because this saves it both in our IQ Designer and in Embroidery. We made this mistake earlier and we didn't have all the pieces and parts because we forgot to hit next. So we're going to hit memory now, sewing machine, and now we're going to go back to return. And then we can't undo that now. So we're going to go get another square that same size and line it up right on top of that.
Okay.
Or what else could we do?
Draw a line.
We could draw a line, but we'd have to match it exactly.
Yeah, and we don't have a mouse plugged in.
Right. So we're going to go in and get our shapes again. The curved guy here, the curved square. And we're just going to enlarge it to match. And size, if I had written down the numbers, it would have even been better. So I'm just making it wide enough. A little too wide. Now,
Close enough.
and that's really close to the same place where the other stitch was. And each little bit sideways. Now I'm seeing grids. All right, we're getting there. Close enough.
Okay.
And we're going to hit OK. And now our line properties on this one, we're going to go to Line Properties. And we're going to do the double stitch. And we're going to make this one pink. Hit OK. And now I need to hit that line. Oop, I hit the beaker first. And that line, now it's pink all the way around. And it's close enough. By the time we turn it and everything, it'll be great.
Yes.
Now we're going to hit next and then memory. Next.
And you have to wait for that spinning circle to finish before it'll actually save it.
And now we're hitting memory. So we just put two different stitch lines in so we can do this mug rug and turn it right side out. All right, so now we're going to hit return. And we want to take the stitch lines out of this now because we're going to fill it. Is that correct?
Yes.
So it's still highlighted. We're going to come up to our line properties, take the stitch lines out and hit OK. Now we have to hit beaker and hit that line. So now it's black. So it's not going to stitch. The reason we did that is so now we can go into our fill properties. We want to hit select something. I'm going to hit select the 05, the circles. And we're going to make them red. That's good. And now we want to touch between the line we made and our coffee cup. So, but first we have to hit the beaker. And there. But sometimes you accidentally hit the wrong place Oh no, I got circles all over the place. So just go back up one layer. So there we go. So these are the nice, perfectly round circles around that cup. And when we hit next, we can make those circles wonky, a different size. So I'm going to make them a little smaller. I'm going to bring them down to, bring them down to about 65%. And I like the wonky feature. This makes it look like pebbles. So you have up to 3 shift options. And it's going to show you the wonky. If you have a Destiny, I think you have to go to the next level. So here we go. We've got the shape and everything we want. It's filling in. I like it. So at this point, we are going, this is step by step. So we made it red. We used 105. We want to hit memory at this point, or yeah, we need to hit memory. Okay. So,
we'll go to
and then we could go to the optional borders, but that's for the overachievers later. For this video, we're going to do this first set. Do we need to hit set or now, or just go to embroidery?
home and embroidery.
Okay, so set's not important. Okay, I'm going to go to home and ask you, do you want to leave IQ Designer? We did, so we're going to go to embroidery. And now we're going to go into our pocket. And the last 3 things are the last 3 things we made here. And which one do we want to stitch first, Trista?
The straight line.
A straight line.
Set.
Okay. And we're going to hit set. Then we're going to go to add. Go to the pocket. And then we want to hit the stipple.
Yes.
Set. And then we're going to go to add. And this is the last thing we do, which is the outline with the opening in it, which is right over here. Set. So we've got the 3 layers there. And now we can just go to embroidery. We can put the color in. I did a contrasting sort of a grungy green in here, and it will stipple out. And we've got basically 12 minutes of stitching. We're not going to show you all of this. But once it's going to do all the proper layers, because this is what we needed to kind of attach the stabilizer to the fabric, and then it's going to do the fill, and then it's going to do, we're going to put the backing on it, and it's going to do the stitch line for the opening. And you flip it, and you've got yourself a nice little mug rug or a placemat or whatever you want to do. I hope this gives you some fun to play with your IQ Designer, and everything's a challenge. You gotta just keep trying. It's a challenge for us to make these up every month too. So please appreciate it and let us know how they turned out. Thank you very much, and please subscribe. Jeff at High Fashion, Bernina Jeff. Thanks.